Diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease or dementia can be devastating for you and for your family. Because it's a progressive illness, you do have time to plan for the future. So what things should you be taking care of now, and what should you be putting in place for later? Financial advisor Jeremy Shipp is here with a checklist for us. Good morning, Jeremy. Good to see you.
Hey, Cheryl. Good to see you.
This is something that's going to affect a lot of people. More than 5 million people in America right now have Alzheimer's disease, and it's predicted within the next 25 years, this is going to be close to epidemic proportions. So planning now is very, very important.
Plan ahead, absolutely, because every minute someone develops Alzheimer's in this country. So think about that for a second. Just over the course of this interview, 3 to 5 people are going to be afflicted by this disease. And it is a devastating disease, not only for the individual, but also the family who's trying to care for them. So when I say planning ahead and why that's important, it's really just important to make sure you get on the same page and you're communicating your wishes to your family so that you can maybe lessen the burden a little bit when and if that care is necessary.
And also to make sure that you get the kind of care and are able to pay for the kind of care that you wanted to have down the road.
Yeah, paying for the care is really important, and making sure the first thing as far as documents go, making sure those are in place so you can have people to pay for that care. A lot of times when we talk about Alzheimer's or any medical condition, the first type of documents we think about are medical documents. Unfortunately, usually insurance paperwork that we have to fill out. But in this case, the legal documents are really more important. Most people know what the basic legal documents would be, which is your will, trust, living will, those types of things. But when it comes to Alzheimer's, the 2 most important documents are your powers of attorney. And those are your durable power of attorney, and that's used for financial and legal matters. That's where you can appoint someone to kind of pay your bills or take care of your business if you can't do that anymore for yourself. And then your medical power of attorney is where you can say who can make medical decisions in your best interest, again, if you can't do it for yourself. And why I say those are so important is because if you don't have those in place, you could get in a situation where the court actually appoints and directs who can make those decisions for you. That's known as guardianship and conservatorship. And trust me, you don't want to get into that type of a situation. It's not pleasant.
Right, because that's above and beyond what the family wants to do. They have no power to do it.
It's completely out of their hands at that point. Absolutely.
So how does one go about setting up all this paperwork that we need?
You want to go ahead and consult with either an elder law or an estate planning attorney. That's who you want to go ahead and get those documents drawn up by. Of course, you can do things online and get those done, but I think using a licensed attorney is important because those documents are constantly changing, and you want to have those in place properly moving forward.
Right, because we talk about the fact that this is a progressive disease, and there will come a time, if you have Alzheimer's or dementia, that you can't give consent to have this paperwork done. Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, there is money out there to pay for this type of care, whether it's through the federal government for certain people with Medicaid, or for veterans and who served during wartime or their spouses through the Veterans Administration, the Aid and Attendance Program. You just have to know where to look and maybe who to work with to direct you in the right location. So you want to make sure and check on your resources in the community. Also making sure you have eyes wide open when it comes to the cost of this type of care, so you know what's going to be involved there. And once you've kind of expounded those resources and looked through those things, then you can start looking at your assets and kind of separating them into buckets, in that we're going to spend this first, this second, third, on down the line, so that you can really have a plan together financially as far as how you're going to pay for that necessary care when and if it comes.
And also you want to look at protecting your assets down the line as well.
Yeah, that is where you really want to consult with an elder law attorney, a financial professional who's experienced with Medicaid type of planning. That's usually what you're talking about when we're talking about protecting assets. That's a very complicated manner, and you want to make sure you're doing that right.
You talked about going to a lawyer to help you take care of these things. How do we go about choosing a professional that will help us to walk us through these steps that we need?
I think education is important, as well as experience. So, making sure that they have actually done this with other families, worked through, whether it's the VA Aid and Attendance Program or Medicaid planning, or putting in place very specific trusts that'll do certain things for people's money and their assets when they get into that situation. So looking for credentials, experience, I think that's important. And understanding you need to work with somebody you can trust, and somebody who you can feel confident they're going to be providing you with sound advice that's in your best interest.
This is a very difficult time emotionally for not only the person going through this situation, but the family as well. Do you have any advice for opening the conversation? Because this is a very difficult conversation to have within a family on how to take care of someone.
As far as opening a conversation, that is a tough one. You really just need to sit down and try and just be open and honest, and that you're caring for the other person. Whether you're the child bringing it up or the parent bringing it up, it can be very difficult, that the Alzheimer's because a cognitive disorder, and it's really a lot of times harder on the family than a physical type of impairment. So having that conversation, opening that up, just starting, that's the biggest thing. Just with the feeling inside is, I care about you, I want to be taken care of you. I think that's the best way to start. And as far as how the words come out, to each their own. It's gonna come out if your heart's in the right place.
Well, before we let you go, Jeremy, what is the most important takeaway from this topic for us today?
Don't bury your head in the sand. You keep your eyes wide open, understand that things are going to come down the pike, life is going to change. You can either plan for it and run towards that change, or you can try and hide from it, and it's going to come and get you in either way. So understand what's coming down, and planning ahead is crucial.
June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. Jeremy Shipp, thank you so much for joining us today.
Cheryl, I really appreciate seeing you.
Thank you very much. And we're going to post a link on our show website with more information later today. Just go to WTBR.com/VTM.